She doesn't just create content, she creates a vibe, a blend of effortless style, everyday relatability, and just the right amount of bold energy. Her presence feels both aspirational and real at the same time. From fashion that feels wearable yet elevated, to snippets of premium lifestyle that feel personal without trying too hard. Everything she shares has a sense of intention behind it. She's the kind of creator who doesn't follow trends blindly, but adapts them into something that feels uniquely hers.
Hello. Can I have an oat milk ice latte?
More than just aesthetics, there's personality, the kind that draws people in, keeps them watching, and makes them feel like they know her a little better with every post. A creator, a storyteller, and someone who's constantly evolving her routines while staying true to her core. This is Forum Butadra.
What is this honest system?
Hi, Forum.
Hello.
Welcome to the Honest Sip at Work Brew.
Thank you.
So, I'm going to ask you a few questions, and you have
Okay.
to answer them as if cameras are not rolling.
Okay.
Okay? So, be honest about it.
I will.
So, Forum, I know you since 5 years now,
Hmm.
and I have been consistently seeing you grow. And there's a lot of hard work that you put in always. But I want to know, how did it all start for you, the content creation journey?
So I started right before COVID actually, and I was taking it very lightly, just enjoying what I, shoot and post. But then as soon as COVID hit, that's when I had too much time on my hands, like everybody else. So that's when I took it seriously and I started enjoying it a lot more. So I started with pictures, carousels. There was IGTV at the time, those videos. I also did shuffling videos. Shuffling is basically a dancing format that you must have seen people dance on techno music.
Yeah.
So I had a page for that as well. And it took me a while to find my niche, the kind of content that I actually wanted to continue to create. But slowly and steadily, I'm here.
So, how did you find that niche? And how much time did you take to figure out that this is what people like to see about you, or this is what does well on your Instagram?
So I did start with dancing. Then I dipped my feet into fashion a little bit of how I was dressing up for the events or any parties or any occasions. But then that was something that felt temporary. That was something that everybody was doing. So I didn't really enjoy it that much. What I enjoyed was watching the kind of content that I now create, especially the routines, the peaceful ASMR kind of videos. I really enjoyed watching those. So I thought, if I enjoy watching it, let me try making it. And once I made the video, it worked wonders. Like, I don't expect it to work the way it did, but that's what made me catch my niche completely. And that's when it clicked after almost 4 5 years. So, can you believe that after doing trials and errors for 4 5 years, now is when I can say that, okay, since over a year, I know my content, I like my content, and this is my niche.
So, you mean to say that it took you 4 years consistently thinking of what would go well on your Instagram, and then you figured out. So, it's a time taking process, right?
It definitely is because when you so basically now I'm a premium lifestyle content creator, right? So when you put your life out there, you show bits and pieces of your life. But until and unless it doesn't click with you, it doesn't feel right to you, you're still questioning that, okay, what do I enjoy making the most? What do I love creating other than just trends or videos that have been on the internet for all the time. So that's something that took a very long time.
But you got lucky in a way that your audience likes what you want to do. Okay, Matlab, you also love making those videos, but it might sometime also happen that a creator might not like it, but still the audience wants something else. So in that case, they might have to do something that they don't like. I think that also happens sometimes.
That happens especially with the creators who focus on trend based content. Let's say there's a trend and where they have to do or make a certain type of video, but that's not them or that's not what the kind of content they create. but just for the trend, they have to
They
do
have
it
to do
since
it.
they make trend based content. So I'm sure that happens with a lot of creators. Just to be relevant, just to stay in the algorithm, in the trends, they do things which they don't really enjoy. I have been guilty of that. I have also done videos in type of dance reels, which I didn't really enjoy, but because they were trending and I knew that this will go well with the algorithm and the page, had to do it.
So when you started, did you know about this algorithm and page and what works well? Did you already have idea about this? How did you
No
learn?
idea whatsoever. It just came in with time. You start realizing that, okay, this is working, this is not working. And especially with Instagram updating every single day, you tend to read about things, you tend to learn about things that, okay, how does the algorithm work? But till date, I still don't know how it works. So, because it's an ever changing process, right? But you just realize that this is what is working on my profile. You learn to figure out timings that, okay, when I post around these timings, this is what works the best. And this kind of content doesn't do well. Okay, I need to switch up to something that works well, and so on and so forth. And now we have the tools on Instagram where they give you all the data that, this is how it's working, these many views, these many likes, the region, all of that. But initially, all this was not available for us. So it was just swinging it.
But you did really well with even not having the data.
Thank you.
So, from the kind of content that you're making right now, on the camera, it looks so easy. I mean, you just have to wake up and shoot. That's it. So, is it that easy?
No. Because, see, as natural as it is, you are placing the camera every time before you're doing anything. Now that I've become very used to it, it takes me like one take. But initially, you're just like keeping the camera. You have to figure out the angles, the lighting, whether if you're in frame properly, you're in focus. All this has to be considered, right? And there's so much back and forth happening. So, something that I do off camera within, like, let's say 15-20 minutes while shooting, it will take me an hour because I have to focus on every angle, every shot, whether I'm in frame, all of that. So it gets tedious and it gets tiring. So I wouldn't say that creating content is easy.
You said something that takes 15 minutes takes 1 hour. That's 45 minutes of an extra time that you're giving just for the content creation. And people say it's easy. My God.
No, it's funny how these days most of the people say that creating content is easy and anybody can do it. So my answer is do it. Try. Try being consistent for 5-6 years. Show what you've got. Show the kind of content that you can create. Show us how you can talk in front of the camera and express yourself and portray yourself in the certain way that you want to. Work with brands, work on brand campaigns. If it's so easy, do it. Why are creators who, like, I'm not trying to throw shade to anybody, but I've seen people whose reels, like one or two reels, have gone viral overnight, and they take it to such an extent that they leave whatever they are doing only on the basis of 1-2 viral reels, and they think that, what, I'm going to start creating content. They take it up, they leave their jobs, and when they realize that this is not as easy as I thought it would be, because can you imagine somebody who's not been into this game, somebody who's not used to talking in front of the camera, not used to shooting themselves, editing everything, uploading on time, staying consistent, leaves their well paying job and comes into the content creating industry because they think it pays so well and it's so easy and it's so easy working with the brands. It's completely opposite. With now, every third person wants to be a creator. And I mean, if they can do it, great. But it takes a lot of consistency to stay in the game and put the kind of content and actually make money. You know what? I didn't make any money up until first 3 years of creating content.
Wow. 3 years of
Three
making content, you did
years.
not make a single. So, how did it needs a lot of investment as well, right? You need a good camera, you need good lights. microphone and a lot of other things, and then you keep upgrading. So when you're not making money, how do you manage all those things? It's like you invest in the business.
So if you know for a fact that you're in for the long game, you have to put in that effort. Initially people used to say that you just need a phone. You don't need a proper background. You don't need proper lighting. All of that is just, like reasons to not make proper or nice content. And you can just make a video from wherever. Then
I
you'll
think
get an audience that comes from wherever.
I think most of the people still think that to make a content or to be a content creator, you just need a good phone. Somebody who has an iPhone thinks that they can be a content creator. And I think most of the people don't even know that how important lighting is. So I think people think it's easy, but nothing is easy in this world.
Absolutely. Because if I make a video randomly somewhere, okay, using my phone, nowadays the phones have upgraded so much, you don't need a camera, which is fair. But you're just picking up your phone and shooting. And the same kind of video I'll shoot in a proper background, a clean background with like good lighting and good clarity. That is going to work well compared to the one that I've just shot.
Right. Forum, I'm sure that because you're so famous, so many people follow you, and so many people love you as well. But I'm sure there might be some people who are jealous. There might be some haters who would comment randomly. And sometimes, we feel that, our parents are also watching and there are close people watching. How do you deal with that situation? And what's your take on that?
So you learn to deal with it. Initially, when there are people hitting on you or leaving hate comments or just trolling you for whatever you're doing, it does get to you. Imagine getting at least, I'll not exaggerate, but getting at least 5 comments every day where people are hating on you, hating on what you do, hating on the kind of life you live, or if they don't find anything, they target your face.
Face.
Yes. So for me, because I have been suffering with an acne prone skin, I'm okay with it. I've learned to live with it and I'm not shy about it or I'm not conscious about it. This is my face, this is my skin. What can you do about it? Right? So that's what they target. That's something that's not in your hands, right? You
Right.
can't do anything about it. So imagine getting all of that. But then it came to a point where, you know what? They are not living my life. They are not doing what I'm doing. So I've learned a very easy technique, which is blocking. The moment the person leaves the comment, you're out of my account. You have no access to me, you have no access to my mind, and you cannot ruin my day. I don't give you the power.
Very true. But then a lot of people, these people, I think they're free, right? They don't have any work, so they would again make a fake profile and they start doing it. So you keep blocking them. That's the only way.
Fortunately, Instagram has this feature that if you block one person, you block all the accounts they create from the same email ID.
Oh wow. Okay.
So automatically, they are blocked from everywhere, like from any account they make. So that's what I do.
Perfect. And also, I wanted to know, how did you choose the platform that you wanted to do it on Instagram? Because there are so many platforms these days. So, what made you choose Instagram? And do you want to stay on Instagram or you want to explore other platforms as well?
So I've been doing Instagram since day one, and I really enjoy it. Um, YouTube and Snapchat are also two platforms where I keep posting here and there. I've also tried posting YouTube long format, but that is tough. You have to shoot everything, you have to edit everything. And I personally feel like I don't have the kind of bandwidth to manage all the apps. I know there are some people who do it, and kudos to them. But see, at the end, it comes to me being a Capricorn that I need everything perfectly done. So even for my videos, even if like there's a shot which has like 0.5 second extra clip, I'm not okay with it. Which is why I edit all of my content on my own because timing is
Wow.
very important for me. So all my videos, all my content, I edit on my own.
So, you don't have an editor, you do everything on your
I've
own.
tried. I've tried having a team. I've tried, and there are good editors. I'm not saying there are, editors which
They
are
don't know
not
your own
good.
taste.
Yeah. But it's just that I am not able to, it's a problem, it's a me problem. I'm not able to explain, how crisp and like cut to cut videos I want and the flow of the videos. Because what I do is while I'm working, I'm editing simultaneously. So I just know what I want. And I feel that to explain it to somebody and then do it and then go back and forth, I'd rather just do it quickly and wrap it up.
It takes more time to explain somebody, and then rather you do it.
It does. And every video has a different kind of concept, right? You want to edit a video in a different way and you want the output to be different. So it's tough.
Right. Forum, in this generation at the moment, I see a lot of people running away from responsibilities. I see a lot of people, they don't want to get married. And you got married really young. I was there at your wedding. I saw it was a beautiful setup. But until you get married, things are very good. Then things change. I want to know your story. Have things changed after the marriage, or still you are living a beautiful life?
I am fortunately living the same kind of life, Touchwood. Nothing has changed. I feel that if you find a partner and you know that you want to spend your life with them, even if you're, I'd say 80-90% sure, because let's be honest, nobody's 100% sure about anything, right? Even if you're 80-90% sure about, you want to spend your life with your partner when you're dating or seeing each other, whatever. And you're at an age where you feel that you can get married, you can um, live on your own, you can manage your own responsibilities, and you can fend for yourselves, then I think you should. Because if you have a partner, why not get married and grow together and make a life together rather than waiting and running away from the responsibilities and being like, you know what, no, 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 I don't want to, take those kind of responsibilities. I don't want that commitment. Why? These days, people are, so deprived of having a partner. I see so many people who want a partner, who want to go home to a person, but they don't have anybody. And that is sad. I really feel sad for them that, see, initially when you had the chance, you didn't want to. You didn't want to adjust. You didn't want to, make those changes in yourself, make yourself better for the person you love. And then that time has gone by. And now you're not able to find somebody because let's say you're at a certain age where all your habits, your lifestyle is so rigid. You're so rigid with your habits. You're not ready to adjust with the person. Same goes for the partner. So until unless you grow together, how will you adjust? How will you make changes for each other? How will you make yourself better?
And I think you and Mohit are doing it really well, because I mean, he's also setting up his career and he's also working really hard for it. You're also doing it. So I think both of you complement each other. And do you think that because both of you are so busy in your life, right? Because you're setting up your career and this is the most difficult phase. How do you balance? How do you give time? Because you just said that you do your edits and everything yourself. He's also busy with his practices. So how do you manage time?
So he is a cricket player, right? He has to go practice. He has his drills. So every single day he's on the ground practicing, doing his training. And I mostly I'm at home because my work is like the nature of my work is such. I can work from anywhere. So then I am the one usually because I manage it around him. And then we have our days planned that okay, this is my plan for the day, this is my plan for the day. So the partner then knows that okay, this person, like if let's say Mohit has a busy day, I know that he has a busy day, he's gonna be tired. So I need to make sure that I'm wrap my work before he is home, and then I can spend time with him and be there for him for whatever he needs. And the same goes for him. That's what he does. When he knows that I have a busy day, I have multiple shoots, he will make sure that everything is prepped and ready at home for me to just come back and, relax and just spend time with him. So that's how we just manage. We also have a dog, by the way.
Wow.
He's Popcorn. He's 6 years old, Shih Tzu. So it's like we have a baby in the house. And we got him before we got married. We got him 6 years ago. So that's like 1 year of marriage and 5 years of without being married, we had a baby.
Hmm.
That is a dog, by the way.
So, but are you planning to have babies in future?
Nothing set
Nothing
in
as of
stone.
now.
Yeah. We're just focusing on building our careers right now and creating the life that we want to create for ourselves. And we'll see how it goes.
Nice. And do you cook for him, or do you just make coffees, or what exactly?
No, no, no. So I do love cooking and he loves eating. So I think that's the
Wow.
perfect combination. Whenever I can, I make sure that I'm cooking at home. And that's usually most of the times. And we both are big foodies. So we also like to go and explore different places and eat together. Food is our major love language.
Wow.
That's how we connected the most. And being married into a Punjabi family, my mother-in-law has taught me all these Punjabi recipes, rajma chawal, chole, and all of that,
Wow.
which is Mohit's favorite. So I cook those as well, and I love Asian food personally. So I keep making different types of Asian food, be it Japanese, Korean, Thai. I just love it. So
So
yeah.
when we are talking about your mother-in-law teaching you a lot of all these recipes, so I wanted to ask you, how does it feel to be married to Mohit, son of Nayan Mongia, great player who used to play for Indian cricket team, so it's like you're married to a celebrity. Mohit is also, I'm sure, going to be in Indian cricket team soon. Touch wood, cross fingers. So how does it feel?
Honestly, it was completely different from the kind of household you'd grow up, like a Gujju household. I'm a Gujarati. I've grown up in a Gujju household. And them being into cricket, and they are Punjabis, right? So the kind of food, their lifestyle, everything is different, especially when sports plays such a major role in their life. The kind of discipline they have is crazy. Like, I have seen Mohit put in the kind of discipline since the day one, and it has never changed. And I am just in awe of how he can be so disciplined and so dedicated to his career, to his fitness, and show up every single day. So Mohit is the one who brought fitness into my life. I was not into fitness until we met. And he used to tell me from the very start, what, you should come work out with me, like build some muscle, get stronger. And I was like, no, 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 I'm okay. I don't want to, bulk up. Those myths that you have, that if you work out, you're going to bulk up, you're going to look like a man, all of those things. And then 2 years in, somehow he finally convinced me to go to the gym.
2 years.
Yeah, 2 years.
Okay.
2 years in, he convinced me to go to the gym, which then I caved in and I was like, okay, I'll join the gym with you. We started working out together, and it's been 6 years to me working out. I've never looked back. I have only been nothing but grateful that thank you for introducing fitness, for introducing all these important aspects that you need to work on your body physically and mentally. So physically, you obviously, work out, you make sure that you're getting movement, eating right, and mentally is when the spiritual aspect comes in.
Spiritual aspects. Do you really pray every day and go to temples and stuff like that?
I don't really go to temples as much. I do whenever my family goes, but yes, I do pray every single day. I am quite spiritual. I am not sure if you know this on my audience sources, because this is a side that I've not really shown online. I do share clips of me praying, during my routine here and there, but that's about it. I've never been very vocal about my spirituality or my spiritual journey. But yes, I'm quite spiritual, and I do believe that there is a higher power, and everything that is going inside you is what is in front of you. And I also believe in manifesting a lot. I would say that I've manifested about 80% of my life.
Wow. That's not just by
Yeah,
praying around.
that's not just by praying or by thinking about it or by talking about it, but that's also me putting in the hard work that requires. You need to have a vision, right, for what you want to do. So I feel manifesting helps a lot. because you form that vision first and then you work towards it. And I think praying and being grounded really helps you with that. And really, I would say that it just keeps you at peace. Because
Right.
in today's overstimulating world, how do you find how do you find peace within yourself? So that
Very
really
true.
helps.
Yeah. But it's good to know that, even this generation is into spirituality. And I've been talking to so many people, so many creators, and all of them have this thing, but they don't show it on camera. They show a little bit on it, but they don't talk about it that much. But it's good to know that they are into spirituality. It's really, really good.
I think a lot of people, especially the young generation, I'm talking as if I'm too old.
Your generation,
But
you can say. Yeah.
yeah, my generation and even younger than me are realizing that how important it is to have something to, be connected to, like a higher power or any God you believe in. Because to have that kind of faith is very important. If you don't have that faith and hope, what are you looking forward to?
True.
Something that, humbles you, something that keeps you grounded is very important. So people are realizing that. So I think that's really good. And I think manifesting has become such a big word now that there are many people who are just talking about it without knowing how to actually, manifest or how it actually works. But as long as it's helping their purpose, great.
So even Mohit is into spirituality with you.
Um, I wouldn't say completely. He is a man of his vision. He knows what he wants. I have never seen a man with so much clarity ever. So, whatever he has told me since day one, he is doing those things. And I'm just like, how can you be so clear at such a young age? But he is very clear with what he wants to do. But yes, living with me, he has also seen the power of being spiritual, the power of visualizing, the power of manifesting. He's also incorporated that slowly into his life.
So it's like Virat and Anushka. Now Anushka is into spirituality. Similarly, you are into spirituality, and slowly, till Mohit becomes he's into Indian team, he'll be into it because he would know that you have manifested it for him. So then he'll also come to temples with you. Both of you can go to temples.
I would hope for nothing other than that.
Forum, also I know that you went to Bombay and you were also into some reality shows and a lot of TV shows in OTT platforms as well. So how was your experience with that, and why did you then choose to leave the life of Bombay and come back to Baroda in this peaceful city?
So I am born and brought up in Bombay. I have lived there for 15 years. And then my family moved to Baroda. So I moved with them. Then I started my content journey and I felt that, you know what, I think I need to go back to Bombay like every other creator.
Hmm.
So I did because I didn't want to have any kind of regrets later that, what if why did I miss it? So I gave it a go. I moved back to Bombay and I realized that, yes, to an extent, it does open up opportunities for you. But for the most part, the location is not that important, especially with a fast paced city like Bombay. It's tough to survive. People are literally living and working just for survival, just to be able to pay their rent, just to be able to have food on their table. And with the content industry, you don't know how many campaigns you're going to close, when your payment is going to come. So, the biggest con in the content industry is that you never get payments on time.
Oh.
You never get payments on time. If the payment terms are, let's say, 30, 40 days, you are not getting your payment before 3 months.
Oh.
That is also when you have to be behind the agency, be behind the brand that please release my payment. So, with such uncertainty, it is very difficult. See, your rent you have to pay every single month, right?
Yeah.
So, I have seen people who've gone there with so much vigor that I'm going to move to Bombay and it's all going to work out for me. And within, let's say, 6 months, they come back because it's too difficult for them to manage. So, I would say that the myth that you need to go to a bigger city, initially. That's not necessary. You need to build a platform for yourself first from where you are. Let's say you're in a smaller city, tier 2, tier 3 city. You build an audience and then you feel that, okay, now I need to move to a city and you're able to financially support yourself. Please do it. That will help. But having said that, I did live there for almost 2 years again. I worked with all kinds of brands, went for all kinds of events. But one thing that I really felt very strongly that everything was so superficial. Those conversations with the creators or other than your friends, you're just like, hello, hi, what's up, how's it going? Next time when you see each other, you don't even talk. So that's, I just felt that it was so superficial and it was so draining. And you come back home to nobody. If you're living with your friends, yeah, fine, you have your friends. But otherwise, you don't come back home to family unless you are born and brought up there and you are living with your family. So that, that had a very big void. And I felt that, what am I doing here? If I can do this by living there, I would rather live there with my family, go back home to my person, and spend a good quality life rather than just hustling all the time and just trying to survive. So I feel that now I am living a good life here in Baroda and I'm also working in Bombay because it's so easy to go, right? So whenever I have work, I'm there.
Yeah, I think it's the connectivity is so good.
Exactly. So I just go, do the work, spend time with my best friend, my family there, and come back. As soon as I go, I quickly want to wrap everything and come back home. So I feel that you need to have that kind of home, that kind of life. It's very important.
Also, I think you missed Mohit a lot. That's why you came back. If Mohit
That is
was
true.
with you, you might not come back.
Maybe.
Thank you so much, Forum.
Thank you for having me.
So that was Honest Sip at Work Brew, where behind every frame there is a real story.